What's up, everybody? Pile 702 back today with another MCM Mondays review. All right, so today we are going to be looking at a dripper. Now, this dripper is from 313 Innovations. It's called the Monarch. 313 Innovations is just more or less an offshoot of MCM. Well, this isn't just any dripper. This is a beast of a dripper. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go downtown. We're gonna tear this dripper apart. I'm gonna show you all around the deck, the ins, the outs, all the good stuff. Definitely gonna throw a build in, pop back up, pros, cons, you know how we do it. And we have the Monarch by 313 Innovations. Once again, this is an offshoot of MCM. You know, there's a couple other ones like the Cloud Factory, Crescent Moon Innovations International. There's a few of them, but this is MCM. There's not gonna be anything on the tube other than on the bottom. It'll just have which one that you selected. None of mine selected because I kind of ordered it differently. But anyways, when you open this bad boy right here, your extras. Now, your extras are gonna kind of depend on what you order, but my extras, very simple. I got 4 extra grub screws, an extra O-ring, and an Allen key, and that's it. Now, moving on. You will see this is the Monarch RDA right here, and this is an extra Ultim cap that I ordered. So if you go on MCM.com, you will see when you order these things, first of all, this is probably the cheapest thing you'll ever order from MCM. We'll get into this, a series mod. This is an RDA that you might wanna pick up. All right, so let me screw this down so we can go over kind of the airflow and the adjustments and all that first. So you're gonna have, on the side here, you're gonna have true bottom airflow, and then you're going to have a side which is pitched to hit the bottom of the coil. The coil in this thing actually sits above this. That's why this is so tall. There's a 7mm juice well in there, but the coils are actually sitting just right above where this slit is. So you can adjust both of these, very simple, by turning it, or you can move this over and just run bottom. So that's just bottom airflow. Some people will like this, but I really think that this thing shines with lots of power behind it. Very rarely do I run a dripper wide open. This one I run absolutely wide open. All right, so you'll see on the front here, this is all laser etched on there. Obviously that is a Monarch butterfly. This is the black rendition. The back right here, it's just simple little Monarch, but you know, pretty cool. Nothing crazy all over it. So having a look at the bottom, you will see it'll say 313 Innovations, made in the Philippines, all that good stuff on there. Your 510 right here is going to be protruding. You got your nice threads right there. This is a 304 stainless steel on it. Should have cleaned this up a little bit better, but very high quality on this. Up top You have your proprietary drip tip. This is another one of those big old bastards from MCM. This is it's an 11.5 millimeter. So it's not 8, 10, it's an 11. If you have any other MCM products, your drip tips, those drip tips will fit this guy right here, as 313 and MCM are all the same. But the drip tip, you know, it's a very nice Ultim drip tip, double O-ring, and it's a very tall drip tip. This thing is designed to murder clouds. All right, what you got under the hood? That's what she's got under the hood. Now this is one of the prettiest decks I've ever seen. Like, it's just badass how just to laser etch that across the top so perfectly, the skill that takes, it's just I love the post system on this deck. Before we go over it though, let's just take a look inside this cap. As you can see, it is machined absolutely perfect. There's no weird lines. There's no burrs. It's just absolutely smooth. There's a tiny bit of domage happening on the top, but not so much. I mean, you see how big that hole is? It's a barrel. I mean, that's what this is. This is a barrel, like the barrel of a high caliber rifle. It wants to push as much out as quickly as possible. So all of you cloud chuckers out there, pay attention. The deck. So first of all, we've already established that that is just badass looking. Now, these posts, if you're talking the distance between here and here, it's almost 16 millimeters. The size of coil you can put in here is ridiculous. Now, I'm gonna do a series build for Mech Series on here, and it's gonna be like a 10 or a 12 wrap Canthal. I ordered some really badass, super fancy series coils, like some fused Claptons and some Aliens and stuff from Clean as Fuck Coils. What up, homie? But they're not here yet. But all of those crazy aliens that you see that have like 8 or 10 wraps, and you're always wondering like, what fucking dripper does that fit? It fits this. When I put my series build in here, which it's just round wire, but it'll look like a little baby. I mean, this thing can fit some just gnarly series builds in it. This positive, of course, is up top, the gold. You can see the insulator, and the bottom right here, the stainless steel, that's the negative. Now this juice well, at the highest point over here, it's a little over 7 millimeters. And right up front here, which is what would matter, you're looking about 6 millimeters, right? So you got about a 6 millimeter juice well. Now you can see from right here, this is where the bottom air is gonna come in for this tube. So it's gonna come in from the bottom, and then your coil is gonna be directly over this. So it is going to be just blasting your coil with air coming from the bottom. Now you can see this side cutout right here, which this side cutout now is gonna do the same thing. So your coil's sitting here. This is sitting below your coil, which is exactly where you want it. If your coil was sitting directly where you could see your coil, unless you're pulled all the way out to the edge, and if you do that, you're gonna touch the cap with your series build. Your series build is gonna be back like this. Unless you're pulled all the way out to the edge, then you would want that to line up. But the fact is, your build is going to be right here. So with your build right here, this is coming from underneath, and it's gonna catch all of your coil, not just the side and the upper portion. So where this is built, it's just like a little ramp. So this is gonna blast you from the bottom, and then this is gonna come in and it's gonna clip kind of the bottom heading this way, like 2/3 of your coil. So it's gonna come directly from the bottom, and then this is gonna come in like this. And when you have both of these open on a series or high wattage, it is the perfect mixture of airflow. Now, one thing I will point out, this being, okay, this is all my opinion, okay? I keep saying this is a series or a high voltage dripper because everything about this leads me to high volts and series, between the size of build you can put in here, how raised, how tall everything is to keep you away from all the heat that your coils are going to be generating. This is something where, let me just put the Ultim on really quick. If you drip down the center of this, it's going to splash off of here and it's going to come right out of, well, let me get both airflows open. It's going to come right out of there. So if you are using this as a dripper and you're dripping down like this, it's going to come right out. It's going to hit your coils and it's going to spill out the side. If any of you guys have watched anyone vape like crazy high wattage, high voltage builds, or you do it yourself, you'll know that you don't drip when you're doing series mech or when you're doing 200 watts. Every time you see someone, before they take a vape, and for good reason, this is one time that you do paint your coils. You always see them take their cap off and they make sure and they paint their coils very, very evenly and very perfectly, because the last thing that you want is a dry hit at 200 watts or at 8.4 volts with a 0.3 build-in. Do the math. This is not designed to be dripped down the center. I mean, you can do it, especially if you just close it off to just the bottom. If you just close it off to the bottom, you're not gonna leak. But opened up like that, if you drip it down here, it's gonna roll off and it's gonna be leaky. Don't do that, all right? So you have your nice juice, deep juice well, you have your true bottom airflow, and then you have your cutout right there. So all this combines to create a very, very nice flow of vapor and also to provide air to keep your coils cooler. You know, you're gonna have one O-ring right here, and then you have on the sides here, these are your grub screws, very easy to get to. And you can see from up top, I love this kind of finish on the deck. The vamp is like this too, where you can kind of see like the swirl marks in the stainless steel. Like for some reason, I just love that style of deck. I love when decks look like this. Okay, so as far as builds, I would highly recommend big ass series coils. Boom, boom. But I have seen pictures, these are tall enough where you can actually put micro verticals. I've seen quads on here before. I don't know why you would do that, but I mean, maybe if you're a coil builder or something like that. I mean, look at the distance, because you're gonna have one here and one here. The amount of wraps. This thing is screaming. This is screaming, you know, 0.35 alien series build on here. I went ahead and I got this Ultim cap because with series and the type of voltage we're about ready to do, Ultim is a very great material. It's strong, but it also dissipates heat. Between the height of this, I mean, this drip tip to where your coils, look how tall this is. I mean, this is going to be, we'll just call it 29. Well, the thickness of the coil, from the top of the coil, we'll just call it 27. So you're gonna have 27 millimeters from the top of your coil to the top of that drip tip. Compare that to, you know, the single coil flavor bangers and stuff like that. Just the fact that there's that massive of a distance between where your coil sits and the top of this drip tip tells me that 313 Innovations machined and built this thing for powerful builds, because if you're doing 80 watts on this, you're gonna get no flavor. From how far your mouth is off those coils is not gonna happen. You need tons of power to drive you need tons of vapor, tons of power, wattage, voltage, however you want to look at it, to drive that. So on 8.4 volts mechanical series, this thing has held up just tremendously. That being said, I do happen to have this beautiful MCM spike with two freshly charged 18650 Sony VTC5As. I do have some round wire, some Kanthal. Sorry, I'm not gonna have a fancy build for you, but this will bring the pain. Hit it.
The house of pain is in effect, y'all. I say the house of pain is in effect. You know the house of pain is in effect, y'all. And anyone that steps up is getting wrecked.
The Monarch by 313 Innovations / MCM. We have it on top of the beautiful Spike mod. Look at that thing. This is in stacked. So we are running series 8.4 volts. 0.4, nothing crazy. Now, before I get into pros and cons, let me just juice this thing, because when you're doing mech series, you always want to make sure that your coils are very saturated. I mean, you can drip if you want to, that's your prerogative. But you can also get dry hits, and I will choose to just paint my coils and make sure that they are gushing wet. So we are going to do pros and cons. We're gonna start with the cons, end with the pros, because we always end on a positive note around here. So for cons on the Monarch, the only real con I have with it is the O-ring. The O-ring on this, it's just, the cap is a little loose. I think they should have double O-ringed it or put a larger O-ring on it. It doesn't fall off, but I mean, it's pretty loose. It doesn't affect, it still makes a seal, so the airflow is still fine. Could have been a little bit tighter. As far as everything else concerning airflow, no complaints whatsoever. It's very quiet. Very, very quiet. So we're gonna go with a con on just the tolerance of the cap. The metal guy right here and the Ultim one, I think there should have been 2 O-rings and it just would have held a little bit better. This is more of a subjective con, but I like how they did the barrel on the Ultim. They just did the symbol on the front and then nothing on the back, where this one's got the symbol, the Monarch, and it says Monarch on the back. I like RDAs that don't have a ton of shit on there, so I really like this. It just has the Monarch on it and that's it. As far as cons, that's all I got for you. Pros. Pro number 1 with this, just as everything else MCM is involved with, is gonna be the machining. The machining on this RDA is fucking awesome. O-rings to me don't fall under machining. The way that this deck is machined, the stainless steel, I love how it has that kind of like swoosh looking deck. I've always loved decks like that. The design, okay, this is gonna be another pro. I've never seen an RDA designed for series. I mean, they don't say this is for series, but everything about this screams series. It's got 16 millimeters between where your leads go in. So it's made for a crazy ass wide series build. With this cap, I don't know if you can see, but look, you can see where the coil is through that, and you can look at how far from where the coil is to the drip tip, to the top of the drip tip. All of that space, that dissipates so much heat. And for me, one of the things that I initially did not like about mechanical series vaping was how hot it got. With this RDA, first of all, there's no spit back, and the temperature on this vape, it is a warm vape, but it's not scalding hot. You don't have spit back flame balls going in. It's just overall the distance from the actual coil to the top of this, the way that it's designed, I mean, I can't help but think that they designed this solely for series. So I'm gonna give them a huge pro on designing an RDA just straight out made for series. Pro number 2 is gonna be price. On the MCM site, they're 50 bucks. Mind you, if you wanna ship it, it's 50 bucks. So if you were going to buy a mod or something like that, especially if you buy a series mod from them, this is the RDA you wanna run on top. By far. If you want something for a parallel that's a fucking cloud buster and flavor banger, get the UDG 25. I'll put a link to it right here. UDG 25 on a parallel is my favorite dual coil. It's fucking awesome. So 50 bucks. You can find them on sites in the USA and in Europe, and I've seen them anywhere from like $70 to like $90. So for a high end, and this is high end, for a high end dual coil RDA, you're paying anywhere from $70 to $90 if you pick it up from a distributor, or you're paying $50 if you're buying something from MCM. And you know, that's the only way I would really buy this straight out of MCM, is if you're buying something else, just because the shipping, you know, it's gonna put you over 100 bucks, where everywhere else I looked online, I found it for 70, 80, 90 bucks. Now what's cool if you do order this from MCM is you have the options of adding caps. So just like one of these caps, I think the cap is $8, any of the metal ones, and then the Ultim's 10. So it's an extra 10. So I mean, you literally could go and get all 4 colors with this, and each one of these is like $8. So, you know, 3 of these, 8, 32 bucks, plus the Ultim, 42 bucks, and you basically have 4 series RDAs to match your shit up. I like to match my shit up, so to me, that's a massive pro. Pro number 3 is going to be the flavor. The flavor on this, on a series, it's the most like relaxing series vape with flavor and vapor production. I mean, it's just, you don't have to, usually right now I'm like nicked the fuck out. And with this one, I'll just be like, I mean, just a little short, and the flavor, you're getting essentially dual bottom airflow, because that one's coming directly under your coil, and this one right here, it's in at an angle and it's below your coil. If it was dead even with your coil, when it comes in, it's only gonna get that top, if you look at it in quadrants, that top 25% of your coil, where if it's underneath it, you're gonna get at least the outer half, if not more, if not like these 3. You might miss the back half, but you have that one that's underneath it. So it's like with the nuclear RDA, this basically surrounds your coil with airflow, whether it's coming directly underneath it, which is another pro. The way that these posts are designed, when you slide your build in, it puts your build directly over that air tube coming from the bottom. You saw on the build, like I didn't have to finagle with it. When you put a build in, it lines it up perfectly over that. And the slot isn't too big either. So when you are painting your coils, you don't see anything seeping out of here because your coil blocks that bottom airflow tube just from its positioning. The only time you're gonna see this thing leak is if you drip down the top, it's gonna hit this post. And when it hits this post, it will shoot off this way and shoot off this way, and it comes perfectly at an angle that'll go right out the side. If you choose to drip on this thing, then that'll be a con for you. I mean, this is a dripper, but it's not a dripper. This is, for me, the way I like to vape it, this is 1,000,000% a high wattage series, mechanical, high voltage, however you want to look at it, RDA. So flavor, airflow, machining, price, and just the innovation on designing a series only dripper. And the fact that, you know, you can get extra caps, the Ultim, all that stuff. There will be a beast of a build coming up on that UDGV. I'm gonna do part 2, and I'm gonna build the stacked series box, which is 16.8 volts. This will be on top of there. This thing hopefully saves my life, because I'm gonna put like a 0.8 to a 1 ohm build in that. This will be making an appearance again on MCM Mondays, just to let you know. So that's it. That's all I got on the Monarch by 313 Innovations. I'd like to say a special thank you to all you guys who did the videos on the last MCM Mondays, the all love and the clouds. That was fucking awesome. You know, and it was cool too, because a lot of you guys got to see a lot of people that work at MCM, and you know, it's just kind of cool to get people from all around the world involved and stuff like that. I think the channel's got a lot of, it's got people from everywhere. I look at the analytics and it's people from all over Europe and Australia, and 49% from the States. So it's like 50% US and then 50% outside. You know, a lot from the Philippines and stuff like that. So it's just fucking cool. I don't know. I just think it's cool. Something that brings people together. And on that, I'm gonna let you know, I don't know what's going on out there. I really don't. I know that it's Monday if you're watching this, and that's about it. But what I do know is, around here, it's always all love. See you on the next one.